I always felt uncomfortable with myself, to be honest. Kind of like part of my past. Um, I struggled with some abandonment issues. I grew up in a big family, so I'm one of seven kids. I was born in Mexico, and my family, they were considering adoption, and in 1 year, they adopted four. So I have five sisters and one brother. And something I wrestled with was at a young age just being insecure. Um, and for me, like an outlet for that was literally wanting to escape. This concept of me running away or escaping turned into seeking social settings where I could be someone else. I struggled with keeping relationships. I struggled with keeping jobs. And pretty much anytime I was ever involved in getting in trouble, at the core of it, the problem was revolved around drinking. I was losing sight of who I was, who I really was. So just the way I was raised, being told constantly at a young age that I'm loved and a child of God, I lost sight of that. Through my early journey into learning who God was and relearning who Christ was to me, I met some really, really good people. And one of my closest friends, his name was Reed, and he kind of just welcomed me in. We lived in community together. We were able to attend Bible studies together. I was able to get baptized. I was part of retreats, and it felt like things were going good. I saw a sense of hope. I saw a sense of redirection in my life, but it was short-lived. In 2018, my best friend Reed, he committed suicide. I think we both wrestled with our own demons, if that makes sense. I thought to myself, how could a God allow this to happen? How could God allow the man, my best friend who brought me to Christ, how could God take him away? My attempt to try again, working on my relationship with God, it felt like that was wasted. The lights went off again, and I started just degressing in a lot of different ways, and the same old habits that I once had kind of creeped in. It came to the point where I remember going out drinking, and I didn't want to come home, and I found myself walking down the streets of Akron, and I convinced myself that I wasn't enough. Shame was just completely consuming me, and I did not want to be alive. The realization that I was desperate and considering ending my life, it scared a lot of people. And finally I was able to look at myself in the mirror, and I didn't like who I saw. And I simply reached out and I just said, I need help. I had no idea really what restore looked like. I had no idea what recovery looked like. I just knew simply I needed help. So I remember coming into the doors of Restore. There was just a sense of, it felt like this weight was just like being lifted off of me. Something just felt different about this place. A week later, I committed myself to a year. And I remember starting my journey within the first 30 days and just kind of sitting with myself. And it was the first time where I had to face myself. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, but it was also the most rewarding thing in my life. I finally realized that I didn't have to do this alone. Something that drastically changes at Restore is how you view yourself. So the past demons that you were fighting, you're able to address that. So who I was and how I felt about myself and how I viewed myself drastically changed. And a sense of hope kind of creeped in because I finally acknowledged that I was worth it. If someone was to ask me what kind of man I want to be, I would simply say, I want to be a man that chooses to love.